Hello, crypto traders. Checking in from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Still in a poor mic for one more day as I forgot my wire back home, but we'll be home tomorrow. Had the pleasure of meeting a TheChartGuys member, Dave, just at lunch right now. We have some fascinating people in this community. He was telling me about how he's been flipping stuff for 30 years from before eBay existed and how he's been getting his side hustle on as an entrepreneur. So checking in on things, there's a lot been going on in the cryptocurrency space. We're going to look at a broader view of all these cryptos heading into the start of this coming week. There's been some nice oversold bounce plays, which we will look at. Before we get into it, got to give a shout out. Again, this alert system, new alert super stack. Hopefully you guys know at this point, I'm not going to be shilling anything that I don't truly believe in. And at this point, after 3 days since launch, the alerts that this super stack is giving could not be going any better. So I'll do a video tomorrow night going more in depth about what this alert is and how we can utilize it. But so far it's been giving great signals on the top of Ethereum, the top of Link, this most recent bounce on Bitcoin. And here's an example of what made my day earlier this morning with member Beastie Baller saying that he sold the Link USD bull move up at 480, sold half his position and reloaded in the 460s, and that it paid for the year's subscription in one trade. So again, that's all I want to see. If this alert system can make you money and pay for itself, use it. If it cannot, don't use it. There's a free week trial to check it out, but I love seeing that he's used it exactly as you should. The overbought signal doesn't mean exit your whole position. It means scale out a position and you can look to reload that cheaper, which is exactly what he did, and it worked out well for him. So shout out to BC Baller, and thanks for sharing that with us. The super stack alert went off at 4819, and then we promptly pulled back a significant amount. So heading into the cryptocurrency space for today, let's look back at last night first. So this is last night, my message before going to bed. Bears not seeing much significant follow through for now. The 15-minute higher lows that BCG just lost were met by the bulls, slowly grinding up for a date with EMA 12 hourly resistance. Those who have already bought the dip are taking some partial profit to make sure their break-even price is a bit more comfortable. Patient bulls like myself are waiting for 4-hour oversold conditions, and bears are looking to scale in to look for a 4-hour lower high. So we then look at Bitcoin and how did it end up playing out today? Well, we got our 4-hour lower high overnight, and we got our 4-hour oversold, which is where I patiently waited to buy. And you might look at this chart and say, we didn't hit 4-hour oversold. Well, when the price was at the bottom of this candlestick, that RSI was right at 30. And again, everybody's waiting for that 30 mark. The first 4-hour oversold conditions after a massive daily bull run, everybody's looking for it. And we'll look at the super stack alert in tomorrow's video where it fired off in the 9,600s right before this solid 3% bounce. I don't know if that's a subway or an airplane near me or what. Not used to this city living. So first I'm going to go into how I played this oversold bounce with ETH, and then we'll go through the regular old technical analysis. So for ETH, why did I choose ETH? I like the daily chart for clarity better than Bitcoin. I look at Bitcoin's daily chart and I say, well, we've been grinding down, losing the daily higher lows. I look at the ETH chart and I say, we have tons of space for a daily higher low. We have EMA 12 support clearly approaching. And I just liked it a lot better for clarity. We have the ETH BTC chart looking for a daily higher low. It's exponential, 12 period support. All of those factors had me choose ETH. So heading into this oversold bounce, I had my orders stacked. I had 4 positions for what I am comfortably looking to allocate for this bounce. And I had them initially at 259, 255, 253, 249. And as I saw this pullback starting, I said, okay, Ethereum's starting to get a bit weaker than Bitcoin is, and that influenced my decision. What Bitcoin is doing is more important to me than what Ethereum is doing, even though I'm going to trade Ethereum. And if you've been watching these videos for a while, you've heard me say that before. Bitcoin's 4-hour RSI matters more to me than ETH's 15-minute RSI if we're looking at this 4-hour oversold dump. So we dropped down to a lower low here before Bitcoin did, and I said to myself, my orders are a little bit too high. Bitcoin's not close to a 4-hour oversold yet, and we could easily see another significant leg down. I moved my bids. I then put my top bid to 252, and then I dropped them down to through the 240s. My bid at 252 filled, and I didn't like how things were setting up, and I quickly sold it. I sold half. So my first bid fills at 252. I sold half at 255. I rebought that half at 249. So right now, my break even on that position is 249. 1 out of 4 fills. I then have a fill at 246, 243, 239, and that was it. So I filled all those orders. The bounce then starts to get going because at that point, Bitcoin's 4-hour RSI just kissed 30, right at oversold, and I then wanted to be protective because at that point, I have allocated all the capital that I'm wanting to risk on this trade, and I'm all in. My account wasn't all in, but I'm all in for what I want to be on the trade, and that was maybe a third of my account. So I said to myself, okay, I want to be a bit more comfortable. My average at that point was 243s. And I said to myself, I'm going to scale out some right around break even. I sold a quarter of my position at 244s, 244.89 to be exact. So that frees up capital, where if this was a weak bounce and we dropped down to lower lows, I could then add lower and continually drop down my break even. I then sold a second position out of 4 at 248.89. At that point, I have half of my position remaining and half of the capital freed up again. My break even is in the 240s, and I then put orders at 231 and 226, just in case things got extreme. So now here we stand with my break even on a half position at 240, and I'm up a 2-day maker if we're at 260 right now, as we've gotten really nice follow through, and it makes me extremely comfortable. That's a conservative way to play this. You know I love oversold bounces. This is right in my wheelhouse for getting actively trading again. It was nice and convenient that stocks are closed today, and I was making videos when all this was happening, so I was focused and in the zone. But it's the kind of scenario where if I was going to be aggressive, I wouldn't have sold any of my position. Maybe I'd start exiting some now. So I chose conservative to free up capital, lower my cost basis. Now, that being said, I have less profit than if I held my whole position. So that's conservative versus aggressive. Aggressive, I would have held it all. So I'm still looking for a 4-hour lower high. What is my game plan on the second half of my position? I will likely exit another quarter of that position soon, probably right after this video, in the low 260s. And then I will have a quarter of a position. My break even will be something like 220, and I will have zero risk on that trade, and we'll see if we can get any notable follow through. But for now, we're still looking for 4-hour lower highs. So let's go through our rundown. Bitcoin, anything under $10,048 is a 4-hour lower high. We have lost the daily higher lows. The break of 9,700 lost those higher lows for me. Is our monthly lower high set? Way too soon to say. I need to see a daily lower high. So here's our high. Here's our low. I need a lower high and a lower low if we're going to start to say maybe that's our monthly lower high in this equilibrium being set. And I've been a bit disappointed with crypto Twitter recently. There's way too much pumping going on there. I've been grinding my teeth and biting my tongue at these calls that people are making. One person posting saying, this is the kind of market environment where you can turn $5,000 into $500,000. Shut up, no it's not. Or the another guy saying, we might not stop after we break 10,000 going straight to 25,000. It's a very dangerous market environment for newer traders to get in, and the last thing we want to see is new traders jumping in the crypto space, getting burned and losing funds because of this hype euphoria groupthink that's going on crypto Twitter. Yes, people get excited, but the people that have been around for years and have 50,000 subscribers and are still putting out those messages, those are the kind of people that I've been muting the last few days because they don't have my respect. So Bitcoin, the question now is, are we going to set a daily lower high compared to 10,500 and then drop down to a lower low? If that happens, we are then in a daily downtrend and looking for a weekly higher low to form. Most coins we're about to look at have tons of space for a weekly higher low to form, anything above 6,854, so no risk of losing the weekly uptrend on this current pullback. It's just a question for the next 3 to 4 days. Are we setting a lower high and lower low, or can we make a complete recovery from the bulls to squeeze a bunch of shorts that have entered the last few days? I would be surprised if we V-shaped recovery to a higher high. Bitcoin dominance chart finally bounced. So the evolution of how we've been tracking this Bitcoin dominance chart over the last week is a week ago I was saying we're going to see this bounce happen one of two ways. Bitcoin's going to break out notably strong and the altcoins are not going to be able to follow, or Bitcoin's going to pull back, or the sector's going to pull back, Bitcoin's going to pull back less than the altcoins. 2 days ago, I was able to come on and say, okay, altcoins are strong enough that Bitcoin's not going to break out and leave altcoins in the dust. So the only way that this chart is going to bounce, in my opinion, is if the sector pulls back, and because the altcoins have established less support on the way up, they're going to pull back harder. And that's what we have here. Daily oversold bounce, just looking for a daily lower high, but it's because Bitcoin pulled back less than a lot of these altcoins did on this bounce. Ethereum, daily uptrend easily intact. 4-hour chart still in a downtrend. So I'm watching two things, the 4-hour time frame and the daily time frame. Anything under 274 is a daily lower high, a 4-hour lower high. If we can change the 4-hour trend back to the bulls, we then just set our daily high or low, and we are looking back at 290. And again, it would require a lower high and a lower low for a loss of the daily uptrend. And at this point, bulls are still liking the look of this daily chart. ETH BTC is the same thing. Extremely strong bounce, daily uptrend intact, exponential support, nice visual guide. 4-hour time frame looking for a lower high. Have to change the 4-hour trend for the bulls to regain their control. LTC took out its daily higher lows more convincingly than even Bitcoin did. So a loss of the daily uptrend, and now the question is, are we going to see a daily downtrend with a lower high and lower low? That was a bad drawing. With a lower high and lower low into this week. If it is, we zoom out. We have not consolidated since running 100+% on the weekly time frame. Bulls would be just fine looking for a weekly higher low. LTC BTC also dumped through a lot of support. That's why Litecoin pulled back more significantly than Bitcoin. If I had to rank the three, Ethereum 1, Bitcoin 2, Litecoin 3, strongest to weakest. XRP, notable pullback, still a daily uptrend, anything above 267. 4-hour, looking for a lower high. Anything under 318 is a 4-hour lower high. Question into tomorrow and overnight tonight here on the US. I guess I'm not on the East Coast, but I'm in the US. Can the 4-hour trend change back to the bulls? Because if it does, a lot of these daily uptrends remain intact. Bears would love to see daily lower highs and lower lows. Keeping in mind that we've already seen now our 5-minute oversold bounces, our 15-minute, our hourly, and our 4-hour. So next oversold bounces that we do see, if bears do get follow through, will have less significant follow through behind them, in my opinion. The magnitude of the bounce gets worn off when it's already happened on a certain time frame, coming off of a major bull move. One more little tangent to go on. Another thing that stood out to me for Bitcoin to be patiently waiting for 4-hour oversold conditions is the shift of noticing short-term 5-minute and 15-minute RSI levels, 5-minute and 15-minute exponential moving averages rejecting the price more than they had in a significant amount of time. So we were used to the bulls being in complete control, and then on these bounce attempts from our high, 1, 2, 3, just constant rejections, struggling at the short-term exponential moving averages, that gave us an initial clue this shift might be on right now for the bears to start taking some short-term control. BNB, daily uptrend easily intact, 4-hour downtrend, anything under 25, 24. Bears that are watching this video, they're looking to scale into 4-hour lower highs, just like my post in the chat room talked about last night. Bears scaling in for 4-hour lower highs. At this point, Binance would have to bounce 16% to break the 4-hour lower high. The best case for the bulls on a lot of these altcoins are going to be to get close enough to give the possibility of a 4-hour inverse head and shoulders. We're going to anticipate the 4-hour lower high. The question is, can we form the higher low and change the trend to result from that? At this point, size of the bounce is making us confident that the bulls can at least put up a fighting chance for that to happen. Link, strongest out of anybody that we just looked at. Haven't even started daily consolidation. Anything above 370 is a daily higher low. The 4-hour time frame, 405, 403, a little double bottom. But anything under 486 is a 4-hour lower high. So it's the same in that regard, but the positioning on its chart is way stronger compared to everybody else. And its daily uptrend easily holding for now. Have to be cautious of a volume climax because it is a bearish reversal indecision candle, And that is a volume climax, the highest volume we've seen in a very long time. But again, the 4-hour lower high and lower low would be needed, and a break of $4 for any notable bear follow-through. XTZ, daily uptrend intact, exponential support holding. 4-hour lower high is a bit closer here, so that level is 330. Nice recovery. Daily uptrend easily intact. BCH, stairs up, elevator down. In 2 days, we gave back over 9 days of bull move. Is it still a daily uptrend? I would say so. I'd say anything above 363 is a higher low. But again, it's the amount of space. So the space that we have to form a daily lower high and lower low on a bounce is more significant on a name like BCH than it is on a name like even BNB or Link. I guess Link's a better example. So 4-hour lower highs, anything under 458 is just a lower high. That's still 10% away, and we've already bounced almost 10%. So 4-hour lower high likely. Question is, into tomorrow, can the 4-hour trend change? BSV, weekly lower high is set. High, low of the pullback, and this is probably better on the 3-day time frame. So high, low of the pullback, lower high, still holding support, but that lower high is very clear now. Base of support is down in the 260s, and we bounced off of 270. But look at all this space for a daily lower high to form on any bounce follow through. Anything under 382, a 35% bounce is just a daily lower high. And last we have Dash. Dash setting a weekly lower high as well. Very similar. So high, low of the pullback, lower high. Most important support is 91.34. We're holding that level. Daily time frame. Anything under 138 is a daily lower high. 4-hour downtrend, most important for us short term. So everybody's doing roughly the same thing. We can see names like Link standing out clearly strongest. Link, XTZ, ETH, everybody still in a daily uptrend is stronger than Bitcoin and Litecoin, who lost their daily higher lows. So the question now is, how much follow through can the bulls see, keeping in mind that 4-hour lower highs are the most likely scenario for the next 6 to 8 hours. And then the question is, can the trend change in the next 12 to 18 hours? And that's a very rough estimation, but that's where I'm looking. That's the time window of where my mindset is and what is most likely anticipated in the short term. 1 day at a time, that's what I'm looking to. So I've got some ETH to sell, lock in a bit more profit, and then let that 1/4 position ride as long as the hourly uptrend is intact. I appreciate you watching. Hope you had a good day. And that's that. Do good things. Looking forward to getting back to the normal routine. And I'll see you all in the near future.